everyone. Okay, so in today's episode I'm going to tell you all about recovery points, clear up some misconceptions and some little things that people don't really know about recovery points. And some people just think that they can put a snatch strap or a D-shackle or a winch or something around pretty much anywhere under the car, and they can't. And that's the big downside, is that some people just don't know what's happening. And realistically, at the end of the day, if you throw a strap around something and snatch off it and it's not rated, and well, that's another thing I'll get to, is ratings. It's not rated or it's not secure enough to do such a job, you're likely to come off and kill someone, because it's pretty simple, guys. I mean, like, when you're recovering, you could kill someone. You're putting a lot of force through a lot of equipment and a lot of stuff, and so I'd just like to clear up some misconceptions that are out there in regards to all this, so that you can do it all safely and do it all correctly, because some people just don't seem to know exactly how to go about it. So yeah, hopefully I can help you all with that. So yeah. Now, one thing about ratings with recovery points is the fact that realistically, at the end of the day, you can rate your recovery point as much as you want. You could rate your recovery point, so that hook you buy at the store, you could rate it at 5.4 tonne, right? 5,400 kilos. That's all well and good. That's a really great example. But at the end of the day, even if your tow hook is rated at 5,400 kilos, and your bolts are high tensile bolts and they're rated at something close to that, realistically it's where the person bolts it. That rating absolutely means nothing at all to the end consumer, because the manufacturer does not know where it's actually going to be bolted to. They can suggest it gets bolted to a good spot, but at the end of the day, you buy a car and it's got a recovery point on it that states that it's rated to 5.4 tonne. Realistically, how do you know that it actually is rated to 5.4 tonne? You got no idea whatsoever, do you? So you can't really trust that judgment. One really good example of what a lot of people will use to recover is they take their tow tongue out. They throw their snatch strap into their tow receiver and they stick this pin through it. Now, it's all well and good. I've actually seen that happen quite a lot, and 9 times out of 10 it will not hurt anything. It will not damage anything. But you got to remember, how many people know what this pin's rated to? Do you? Do you know what your pin's rated to? I mean, you hear some people 8,000 kilos, some people 12,000 kilos. I'm yet to see one of these pins, like, please, in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm yet to see one of these pins actually stamped with a rating. So, realistically, unless you've bought the pin brand new and you know exactly what rating is on that specific pin, you got no idea. And using something like that for recovery is downright dangerous, really. Another great example is just here. That's in my bull bar. That is 2 holes to mount a recovery point. Well, that was my guess as to what those are there for. Is those 2 holes have been used to mount a recovery point. But if you come back and look, they are high up. My chassis is down here. So they're very high above my chassis, which will cause a twisting action if you try and recover off there. So that won't work. Also, they're off center. So you will also twist the bull bar this way towards the camera, and you'll twist it across and down, and that is why they say don't recover off bull bars. Not because you can't recover off a bull bar. It is possible. There is a right and wrong way to do it. I will not be putting that in this video, but you don't recover off bull bars simply for the fact that if the recovery points are in the wrong spot, it will just simply tear the bull bar apart, because they're not made for those forces. Not made for them at all. Now this is the last thing I wanted to show you, this is the front section of chassis for the 60. As you can see, this is my bull bar mount, which is pretty solid. So that's all well and good, that's all great. Then over here is where people normally will mount their recovery point. I've got a hole here and a hole back here. Now what Toyota went and brilliantly done was stick those recovery holes too far apart to mount a recovery point. Now what I have seen other people do is mount one up here, underneath inside this chassis. That also is possible. But, I mean, realistically, how much force do you want to put through that sort of material? I would prefer to box that in. Now, the other way that I've seen it done is that people have got other points which go, or had points manufactured, which will use these two bolts plus these two, and they will go brilliantly hard, and they will have a very high braking strength. So, and these ones here on the front of the bull bar, once I turn around, these come on the bull bar. Now these points, yes, they can be used for recovery. They are in line, they're in the stress point zone of the bar, they are in line with the chassis, they're in a great spot to put force off. When you look at the amount of material that's there, I wouldn't be wanting to hang more than, you know, a winch cable and a D-shackle off that, because it probably won't hang up to, you know, the car itself weighs 3 ton. That probably will not hang up to 3 ton up to the doors in mud being snatched off. You'll just tear that straight through. So you just got to remember, guys, like with recovery points, it's not as clear cut as some of the companies want to make it appear. Okay, I'm not for any means saying that you guys shouldn't trust the recovery points that are on your vehicles. I mean, a lot of vehicles I see out there, they have very well installed, very professionally done recovery points. All I'm saying, and the point of this video was to hopefully clear up some of the confusion, that recovery points aren't actually rated because there's no real way to define what those ratings are. The manufacturer can define the braking strain of the recovery point itself, but you can never fully trust that the installer, you, or Billy Joe Jim Bob down the road at Jim Bob's Redneck Customs, is actually going to install it correctly. Now, that becomes a problem. And as for factory recovery points, they're great for towing. They're generally put there for tie down of the vehicle on the truck when it gets built and shipped, but honest to God, I would not trust them for a snatch strap when you're axle deep or doors deep in water. I would not trust them 1 iota for getting you out. I would just not trust it at all. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense to everyone out there, and I'm going to get out and have a good look at this before I go through it. So cheers for that, guys, and yeah, just like and subscribe. That was pretty easy. Nothing to it. Go one more time. Go back through it. That was fun.